I am less than enthused about Stephen Colbert, as you may have noticed from every show ever. So Stephen Colbert used to be a funny human. And then he decided that he was going to rival Jimmy Kimmel as woke pope. And now we have a pope battle like they did in 13th century Catholicism. We have like a pope and an anti-pope. So Stephen Colbert is the anti-pope. So he is also completely and wildly unfunny in terms of his politics and completely non-self-aware. So let me give you an example. Stephen Colbert said on his show the other night that President Trump would look great if our next president were a single-celled organism, meaning that Donald Trump is terrible. He will always be terrible. He actually said this on Anderson Cooper.
The president leaves, he's not popular, and then, George W. Bush left with low ratings, I guess you would say, or
Sure.
opinion polls, and now is viewed much more different. At least different.
I question your research on that one. I don't think George W. Bush
He's
is actually compared to Trump.
Yes.
Well, sure. Sure. I mean, if our next president is a single-celled organism, then Trump's going to look great. Some sort of slime mold.
Oh, yeah. So obviously, Donald Trump, if he's only great compared to slime mold or single-celled organisms. Why do I point this out? I mean, it's typical nonsense from Colbert. Because then Colbert seems perturbed that there are people who want the president to be a complete jerk.
There's a large group of Americans, and I don't even think it's necessarily Democrat or Republican. There's a large group of Americans who think the president should be a complete jerk. He shouldn't be somebody that you necessarily admire. It should be like, look, a guy who's willing to work on the dark side and get things done.
Well, I also think there's people who just like the fact that that you're upset about him, and that that we're covering him, and
Sure, I'm familiar with the term "drinking liberals' tears," but but that seems like it's a huge price to pay.
No,
to get to see guys like
he's a tough guy.
Oh, well, yeah. It's drinking leftist tears, not liberals' tears, by the way. Like, we have a whole Tumblr just for it. But let me explain, Stephen Colbert. Yes, there are a lot of people who have a gut-level reaction to jerks like you being jerks. And their answer is, we should also be jerks to you, right? And it's not something of which I approve politically. I don't think that people should elect a president just to drink leftist tears. I think it is the job of conservatives to make leftists cry with good arguments and good policy. I don't think it's the job of the right to make the left cry simply by trolling them. However, do I understand the emotional response to Stephen Colbert? You bet your ass I do. The fact that Stephen Colbert says the kind of stuff he says on a nightly basis, is excused for it by the media, is brought on Anderson Cooper to laugh about it. The fact that he does that sort of stuff, and then he is perturbed when people react to him, is supremely disingenuous. Because this is what Stephen Colbert is. Let's be real about this. Donald Trump was elected to be a late-night host. Okay, that's exactly what happened. Donald Trump, we can talk about policy all day long. And yes, some people voted based on judges, and some people voted based on pro-life positions, and a lot of that is true. But the chief appeal of Donald Trump, as opposed to any other Republican, was that he is a late-night host who is going to slap Stephen Colbert. That was the feature, not the bug. And that is because when you crap from great height upon a huge majority of the American people, it turns out some of those people are not going to like it very much, and they're going to want someone who slaps at you on a regular basis. You cannot simultaneously suggest that Donald Trump is comparable to a single-celled organism or slime mold, and then be like, well, why are people so angry at me all the time? Why do people constantly want to come at, why do they care if Trump rips at me? Because you're featured in the media. Because you are, in fact, a person who gets an awful lot of media attention. It's amazing to me that the left has no self-awareness about this. Like, none. Maybe you're part of the problem, guys. Maybe you're part of the problem. Did it ever occur to you that after spending 8 years trolling Republicans as racist, sexist, bigot, homophobes, and calling Mitt Romney the most boring person who has ever lived, a racist, sexist, bigot, homophobe, that the right might say, you know what? Screw those guys. Elect the middle finger. That's exactly what happened here. And the fact that Colbert doesn't even understand this is part of the continuing problem. I hope you enjoyed that clip from The Ben Shapiro Show. If you did, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you stay up to date on all of our future content.